Chazara today. We are a little behind. We are on Daf Yud Aleph Amr Beis. Amr Abaye, the fourth wide line. Amr Abaye. We just finished saying the machlekes between Rameir and Rabbi Yehuda regarding Eidos. When Eidos, if the Eidim say different hours, 2 hours in the day, 3 hours in the day, 2 hours, 3 hours in the day, 5 hours in the day, 5 hours and 7 hours in the day. Amar Abai, when you're medactic into the machlekes, you'll say, really, Rameir holds a person doesn't make any mistake when it comes to times. When Rabbi Yehuda, a person makes a half-hour mistake. Well, how does that work? How does that stem with what we saw in the Mishnah and Sanhedrin? According to Rameir, a person doesn't make any mistakes. Why? Really, the actual story, when Yosef killed Shimon, was really exactly as the 2 o'clock hour was turned to the 3 o'clock hour. The one that said in the second hour, he meant the end of the second hour. The one that said in the third hour, he meant the beginning of the third hour. But really, nobody made mistakes on times. They were actually saying it is about the exact same time. According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person makes a half-hour mistake. How was that? When did the actual Maisa? When did Yosef actually kill Binyamin? Halfway into the fourth hour. The one that said in the third hour, he really meant the end of the third hour, and he was a half-hour mistaken half-hour earlier. And the one that said in the fifth hour, he meant the beginning of the fifth hour, and he made a mistake a half-hour past. He went a half-hour farther time. But a person only makes a half-hour mistake. A different girsa of this same member of Abaye, Omer Abaye, when you're medactic into the machlekes, you'll say, according to Rameir, a person makes a mistake, a mashu, not nothing like the first girsa, but a mashu, a couple minutes. According to Yehuda, a person will make a mistake, a show mashu, an hour and a couple minutes. A person will make a couple minutes of a mistake. Why Maisa Kavi? When did the actual Maisa happen? When did Yosef kill Binyamin? Either at 2:59 or at 3:01. And one of them made a couple minute mistake. The one that said the 2 o'clock hour had been 2:59 and he was accurate. The one that said 3:01, he was 2 minutes off, or vice versa, but they were just a couple minutes off. According to Yehuda, a person makes a mistake an hour in a mashu. When did the actual story take place? 3:59 or 5:01. One of them made a mistake an hour and a couple minutes. So this is Abaye. Basically, Abaye is saying the machlekes between Rameir and Rabbi Yehuda is a very small machlekes. People make very little mistakes. Very little. The max mistake in any of these 4 shitas, with 2 girsois and 2 shitas, is an hour and a mashu. Also, Rav Huna Breder of Yehuda, Amr L'Shmaitza Kamei Rava. Rav Huna Breder of Yehuda went over and said this member of Abai in front of Rava, and Rava asked, how could that be? Uma ilu daikina bahani sadi. If we're medayik in the words of the actual Eidim say, maybe he meant the beginning of the third hour. It's certainly plausible. He said in the third hour, I saw Yosef kill Binyamin. Right? It's plausible he meant the beginning of the third hour. And the one that said in the fifth hour, right? He meant the end of the fifth hour. It's certainly a possibility. And if we would say that, will come out the 2 Eidim are muchashas, they're contradicting each other. And we're not going to kill Yosef because we don't have a good Eidus. We're going to throw the whole Eidus out of Bezdin. And now you're going to say, Mistama, he said third hour, he meant the end of the third hour. Mistama, when he said the fifth hour, he meant the beginning of the fifth hour. So now it's not too far away. Now it is a good Eidus. And now we're going to accept this Eidus to go weiter with the Chakiras and Bedikas, and we're going to kill Yosef potentially. The Torah says in any possible excuse, any possible hechetimtzu you have to save Yosef, to throw these Eidim out, you should do that. So why are you leaning towards and assuming Mistama they meant the closer 2 sides of the time. The ones at 3 o'clock meant 3:59, the ones at 5 o'clock meant 5:01. Maybe not. Maybe the ones at 3 meant 3:01, the ones at 5 meant 5:59, and they're too far apart. They're outside of the margin of error. If they're outside of the margin of error, it's not a good Eidos. Why don't you should assume that? You should say that. The Torah says V'shavtu Eidav V'tzilu Eidav. Ela Amarava. the following machlekes between Rav Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, which I think this is how more or less we all understood. According to Rav Meir, a person will make a mistake less than 2 hours, 1+ hours, less than 2 hours, 1 hour, right? According to Rabbi Yehuda, a person will make a mistake 3 hours minus a mashu, a little less than 3 hours, 2+ hours. Therefore, very simple. According to Rav Meir, that a person can make a mistake up until 2 hours, up until 1 hour and 59 minutes. So Ma'isa Kihavi, when did the actual murder take place? It doesn't matter. Whether it was the beginning of a 2 o'clock hour, 2:01, whether it was the end of the 3 o'clock hour, 3:59, or any time in between, obviously, it doesn't matter. And one of them, Taka got the time wrong, but they were less than 2 hours off. They were within the margin of error. If they're within the margin of error, we still say it's a normal mistake to make a mistama, and we still could accept the edus to go weiter and ask more bedikas. A little less than 3 hours of mistake is normal. Ma'isa Kihavi, when did the actual Ma'isa of Yosef killing Binyamin take place? The beginning of the 3rd hour, or the end of the 5th hour, or any time in between. And one of them is making a mistake, but less than a 3 hour mistake is still within the margin of error. It's still within the window of what's normal to make a mistake, and that's why we can accept these edim and continue weiter with this din Torah. Now, basically, according to Rava, is even if we assume that the edim meant the most farthest apart, the most extreme, right? 2 o'clock didn't mean the end of the 2 o'clock, but the beginning of 2 o'clock. 3 o'clock didn't mean the beginning of 3 o'clock, but the end of 3 o'clock. They're still within the margin of error, and that's why we could accept the edus. Tanan. When we had 80 nefashos, when we boidik with 7 chakiris. Which Shemitah cycle, right? There's 7 Shemitah cycles in the Yovel. Which year of the Shemitah cycle? Which month of the year? What day of the month? What day of the week? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. What hour of the day? And where did this story take place? Those are 7 chakiris. And the Mishnah over there continues, and there's many more bedikas that would ask also, what color clothing was he wearing, black or white? What exactly was the murder weapon? Was it a knife? Was it a gun? Was it a dagger? Whatever it is. V'tanya, the Brayser, V'tanan, the Mishnah says, Ma ben chakiris lebedikas. What is the difference between the 7 chakira questions and all the other bedika questions? If somebody says, if one of the Edim say any day, I don't know the answer to one of the 7 Chakira questions, it's not a good Edis. We'd right away throw them out of Bezdin. Bedikas, about the Bedika questions, even if both of them say, I don't know the answer. I don't know, was he wearing black pants or blue pants or white pants? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to that. Still, it's still a good Edis. Why? The Gemara asks why. Why by the Chakira questions, if they say they don't know, we throw them out of Bezdin, it's not a good Edus. But by the Bedika questions, if they say they don't know, we still could accept the Edus. By the 7 Chakira questions, why? Now, if they say they don't know to one of the 7 Bedika questions, it's you can't do Hazama. What's Hazama? Imano Yisim. At that time, at that place that you're saying you saw Yosef kill Binyamin, you were with me somewhere else. If you don't know the time, the place, the date that it happened, the whole Hazama doesn't apply. And the rule is, Eidos which you can't make Zayimin, is not a good Eidos. That's why the Chakir questions are Ma'akir. But Badikos, even if you don't know what color clothing he was wearing, what exactly was the murder weapon, it's irrelevant. That doesn't make felt in the Hazama. You still could do Hazama. Hazama has nothing to do with those ancillary, so to speak, questions. And therefore, that's why it's a good Eidos still. Adkan, that's the Mishnah in Sanhedrin. Frete Gemara, in Shikuli Hai. We just finished saying, specifically in Rova, Eidim can make mamish a 3 hour mistake or a 2 hour, 59-minute mistake. Right? Up according to Rava and Rabbi Yehuda. Right? Or Rava and Rabbi Meir, up to a 2 hour mistake. The question of Ezer Show, what hour was it? It still is Eidish Yato Chalazima. Why the Amri Mitikatiina? And I was mistaken. What's going to happen? He says, and it's 3 hours into the day, I saw Yosef kill Binyamin. Comes along to Eidim and says, what? 3 hours into the day? Imano Yosef, you were with us in the supermarket. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant it was the 5 o'clock hour. I just made a mistake. Less than 2 hours is normal to make a mistake. It's still if you have especially with such a massive amount of margin of error, mistake time possible, and for the Gemara. You're right. The only way to do Hazama would be to be mazim the actual hour and the margin of error. Whatever the margin of error is, you were with us that whole time. If you go like your mayor, Rav and your mayor, where it's up to 2 hour window. So in Echanami, he says in the 2 hours into the day. So then that 2 hours in the day plus its margin of error on both sides. 3 hours, according to Yehuda, that's a little bit larger. We'll see the next few lines of the Gemara. The Gemara just speaks out the Cheshbon.
Yeah,
really, we didn't finish.
The Gemara doesn't speak out, but it should be the same 2 hour margin for the Edom Zayman also.
So Taisus asked the kasha. Biel asked yesterday. Taisus asked the kasha. Why are we assuming the Edom Zayman, the Mazimin already? No, Taisus. Okay, that was yesterday. Fine. Ad Kan Chazara. We didn't finish the Cheshbon.
We do Gemara Rashi, not the Taisus.
Okay. Ad Kan Chazara.